All right, so today's video, we have a special little treat, something that should have been perfect for me in so many ways. We have the premise of what if Mithrigan was a caretaker robot who was also an adult and hot, whose name in real life happened to be Megan and features the guy from 365 Days. Well, you'd probably say that would be an AI-generated movie from something that looked at all the content on my channel and spit it out. But no, sadly, it's just so much more bland than that. Yeah, somehow they fumbled the hot killer robot premise. It's even directed by the guy who did Till Death, which is the movie where Megan Fox's husband handcuffs her to his dead body. I realize that he didn't write that or this, but I just don't understand how somebody who directed that movie could have made something so nothing. And a lot of that feels like because the movie's trying way too hard to play like straight and serious, but then you got Megan Fox coming in here just casually dropping these concealed innuendos in a robotic cadence. So there's like whispers of fun and funny coming from her, but then the 365 guy's just like, no, my family, why are you doing this to me? I don't know, if you're just gonna stick to the numbers so hard for something like this, like you gotta at least have some fun with it. Like Mithrigan had fun. It's kind of wild to me that another AI movie that Blumhouse made that came out like right around the corner from this one called Afraid, where the A and the I in Afraid are capitalized. It has like way worse reviews than this one, but I feel like it's handling the premise significantly better. It just gets dumb as hell at the end. This one is just boring the whole way through. I don't know where these good reviews are coming from. Just a little rundown on the plot between the two of them and why I think the other one handles it better. This one, Subservience, basically is a world where they've started creating these like AI robots that can help you with your daily tasks and do a bunch of other things. And it's kind of an interesting world where you're looking at like all of these different jobs that can now be done by robots and how that would affect the working class. And obviously the typical stuff that goes wrong with AI, what happens when the robot starts doing things it's not supposed to do. Then you have Afraid, where it isn't actually a thing that can walk around, but just the way that it's engaging with the environment is very similar to like HAL 3000. The movie even obviously shouts out HAL 3000, but it just feels like it's handling it more realistically. Like you've got kids that are addicted to screens, a high school daughter that's struggling with someone trying to like pressure her into nudes, the way that like deepfakes can happen and how that can be like reverse weaponized in other ways. I feel like the concepts that movie was handling, way more interesting, way more realistic to our modern way of life and what we're pushing into. It just clearly didn't know how to end itself, and that's where that movie gets very bad. This is just boring. Like it kind of starts introducing some of the interesting topics and it has like no interest in actually like going deeper on it. It's kind of like one of the most annoying things you can do to me. It's like either don't introduce anything interesting or find a better way to engage with it if you do. If you're interested, I can cover that other one as well. I was gonna kind of do like a twofer video, but I just feel like the tones are so different that I just wanted to stick to one in one, but I just thought the other one was more interesting, but the ending is way worse. This one's just too paint by numbers to be considered good in my opinion. But for some other things to check out right now, Strange Darling should be hitting VOD on October 1st. It's What's Inside comes out on the 4th. If you can get a few people together to watch that on Netflix without watching the trailer, because I feel like it gives a little bit too much away. It's a very good time. I know some people don't handle horror well. It's definitely more of like a thriller with an interesting kind of creepy setup than a straight up horror. You're in for a good time with that one. And I'll just once again let you know that The Substance is in theaters right now. It's time to pump it up. But let's dive in first real quick. This video is brought to you by you, my lovely Patreon supporters and YouTube channel members. Also, if you end up enjoying this, feel free to just subscribe to the channel for free. So Subservience starts with a family looking for an AI support robot after the wife suffers some kind of heart incident.
Some of our neighbors have them.
It's not like this, they don't.
Yeah, your neighbors don't have the fuckable models. Honestly though, I get making them conventionally pleasant to look at, but like, why did you specifically make it fuckable? Like, it would have made way more sense if it had been like, this model is based off of a classic actress who's licensed her likeness to us. Play into the fact that it's Megan Fox. Don't make it like, yeah, they just thought that this was like a good thing to take care of your kid. Like, I feel like they should all just look like non-threatening nannies or old butlers. But while daddy's looking at this one, his kid wanders off alone. Like, come on, man, you had one job, is watching your children. But thankfully, Megan is here to save the day. And she's a brand new model designed to mimic human emotions and deliver jokes exactly the way you'd expect AI to do so.
You can keep reviewing. Yeah. That'll be perfect. Her tiny stature is great for cleaning out the ovens.
And the daughter, not realizing what a smoke show this robot is, begs her dad to pick this one out to take home. That's really gonna help mommy's stress levels when she's trying to heal. Like you're worried about your entire home life falling apart and not being able to support your marriage, and that's what you walk into? Okay.
Is there anyone else you would like to grant primary user status?
No, I guess not.
Sir, why wouldn't you add your wife? Like, I get she's not here right now, but you know she's gonna be home at some point. Come on. So that's definitely step one in some of the drama, is that he's her primary user. Yeah, I bet he's gonna be her primary user. I'm sorry. But they end up settling on the name Alice for her because that's the book the kid's reading right now, and she sets off to be the perfect helper. She does all the cleaning, the errands, she's already connected into their interface to get all the things they need. There's another difference I noticed between this and the other movie. The other one, because, you know, it's not a physical body, she just like encourages the kids to pick up more slack, to be more helpful, teaches them how to be like better humans until things obviously go wrong there. But it was just like shocking to me how quickly I could see that reality becoming a problem very, very fast, and this one maybe not so much.
Why the little bird that finds you nothing but trouble?
Fucking dad of the year right here. That's your son. And while she's been helpful with the errands and helping with things, it really does not take long at all for the sex aspect to start swirling in. She gets some glass in her thigh when the daughter falls trying to get cookies, and he walks in on her dealing with that, and she just has this like very unusually sexy underwear that's clearly still trying to be clinical while having a nice little under boob cutout, but like for what reason? There's literally no reason for any area of her that's like underclothed to look remotely normal or hot. Like, why does she even have underwear? But whatever, it's time for Mommy Dearest to finally meet Alice, and yeah, it's about the reaction you'd expect.
Your daughter picked her, I don't know.
Right. I know your type.
Oh, that's so much worse than her just being hot, but honestly, my brain made it worse and was like, oh, his type is a hot robot that won't say no? Neat. Clearly not the case. Also, the mom, whose name is Maggie in this movie, is played by the girl who played Gretchen in Heroes, which... special place in my heart forever. Anyway, as mentioned, the one area where this movie does try to like branch out into some more interesting topics of what these things existing would mean for the world at large and how that could affect traditional companies. So Nick works in construction, and while they promised they weren't going to replace people with these sparks or Sims, it seems that that's exactly what they're planning to do. But Nick's the only one who won't be affected because insurance says they need at least one like real person as a foreman on the ground for liability reasons. Which, if there were a bunch of high-powered robots who could function this way, I assume eventually that is what would happen. I don't feel like this world is at that point yet, based on some things that we will find out. But again, it doesn't feel as, you know, immediate as what the Afraid movie was doing with how it was kind of infiltrating, you know, online world and stuff like that. That felt a lot more like, oh, that's scary. This is more like, oh, there's so many movies that have done this premise better. But he gets home and he's obviously pretty stressed out about all this, which Alice can sense or read his biometrics. Not a problem right now, but it will be. Apparently, he also has a bit of a drinking problem, but sir, that will not excuse you cheating on your wife with a robot. But while he's venting all this out to Alice, she actually has a pretty interesting counter to all this. While it's nowhere near the same as large-scale replacement layoffs like it is at his work, he chose a robot over a real person or nanny to help around the house. And for many of the same reasons why his employers would choose to replace a bunch of people with robots, that just kind of trickles down to his decision to do the same thing. They never really go any further with that, but interesting thought.
They really just use it to make a thinly veiled sex bot comment.
There are other benefits. I don't get tired, and I have no desires outside of fulfilling yours.
No time to explore it though, because later that night he's watching Casablanca, which she knows all about, but obviously not because she's actually seen it, which really bothers him, and this is where he messes up, or I guess more specifically, the robot's programming fail-safes fail. He asks her to forget everything she knows about the movie, to literally erase it from her memory, which I assume does something really weird, because once she's restarted, she is really taken the Casablanca to heart here. Like, you can tell it's doing something. And it's almost like he just gave her permission to start doing things rather than just one thing.
If someone loved you so that your happiness was the only thing that she wanted in the world.
Oh no, not a sexy robot that only has Casablanca as a blueprint. And the logistical issues inside Alice only get worse when Maggie starts to mess with it even more. She's about to go into surgery for a new heart and asks Alice to make sure Nick doesn't drink too much if something happens to her, to physically take it away from him if she has to. Which she says she can't do because Nick's the primary user, and she quickly shuts that down.
Sometimes taking care of someone means doing things they don't like, if it's better in the long run.
Never tell a robot that because they have very different definitions of what better might be. Feels like we really needed to learn some clear language before laying down commands, but theoretically she should have ignored anything Maggie said because Nick is the primary user, but I guess that is not the case. She heard something she liked, and she's taking it. It's very like Matilda when they're like, he was supposed to say when a child does something bad, not when a person, that scene. Now, unfortunately, it was a little bit of a false alarm on the new heart. So more hospital time for mommy, which again, just ups those stress levels for Nick, who's not doing so great as a solo parent, even though someone else is taking care of all of the cleaning and cooking and anything else. So this time when he's stressed and drinking and angry in the garage, she makes a move.
Suffering is not productive, Nick. I can help you.
What the fuck? Okay, that is not what we were programmed to do. Probably. Why do we even have the organs and body parts to let that happen? And he almost does it, but he has the restraint not to, but then he just thinks about what it would have been like doing it instead. So that's just a time bomb. Before that trauma can escalate, we have to cycle back into the human replacement trauma. So while Monty here has very good reason to be upset, they do kind of go out of their way to make him just a complete and total jackass, like sexually harassing this robot while bitching about their existence, because some parallel energy going on there to some societal things, but they're not interested in really diving into that. Then while they're all drunk, he drives everybody over to the construction site and busts into their workplace or their old workplace, and then guesses what Nick's passcode is so he can just destroy the robots. The attitude here feels so incredibly schoolyard, like, hey, what are you gonna do about it, man? Oh, what's your daughter's birthday? Bet that's the code, right? I'm not the one who's gonna get in trouble. Better erase the video files or it's your ass on the line. Though I do get the energy behind wanting to destroy the bots. It's a fair reaction, honestly, but I'm assuming that's potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of property damage, so that's just gonna go great. So his blood pressure is now at an all-time high, and good thing Alice is here to help out. She's now just wearing the wife's clothing because she says it calms the sun down, but his response to her doing that, I really had to wonder what he thought this comment would lead to.
But it's not appropriate. Take it off.
Yeah, no shit, that's what she was gonna do. That's what I mean, we're just towing the line of serious and comedy. Okay, at this point, I just feel like I'm owed damages for the amount of times I've had to look at this man's ass. I thought I was done with it. Still, I'm just inundated with ass. So at first he's trying to stop it from happening, but it's pretty clear that he's not trying super hard, and she just tops it all off by blindfolding him and then mimicking the wife's voice. So it's totally fine, guys. He's just imagining having sex with his wife. Totally cool. It's basically like a sex toy. But then that post-nut clarity seeps in the way it always does.
Were you not satisfied with my performance? Because your physiological output suggested that you were.
No, not the nut giving him away. Honestly, though, I don't want to think about it too much, but what happens to that stuff after they're done? Why is there even something there to be done with? It should just be like Barbie. Why does something that's supposed to be great for taking care of kids have a vagine?
It's about satisfying the other.
Would you like to satisfy me?
Oh God. Again, see what I mean? Everybody's playing this movie straight. Megan Fox is in a comedy. Whatever, he has to work where he obviously gets called out because it was his code that was used to kill all the robots or break all the robots. Boss man's pretty pissed. Is like, okay, man, if I find out you had anything to do with this, it's your head. So that just kind of gets put on the back burner because right at that moment, they get another call. Surgery time for the wife. All the surgeons are robots with no mouths, presumably to avoid some kind of contamination, but they are robots that we have already been shown have these ultraviolet cleaning mouths. There should not be any germs, but sure. Surgery goes fine. She's headed back home, and there's already a weird power play in terms of childcare, and we get a little glimpse into the multiple ways her behavior has deviated from the manufactured intentions. She's got kids at the playground where this one starts throwing a fit and disturbs the baby Max, and Alice just can't have that.
Mason, shut up and go on the slide.
And this is when she reveals that apparently when Nick did that reset on her, it allowed her to start bypassing a bunch of the safety protocols, including civility.
This is better.
So yeah, that's only gonna get worse, and she definitely starts rapid spiraling a little bit because Alice is super not happy that Maggie won't share her lasagna recipe that Isla likes so much better.
Yep. Definitely better than Alice's.
Damn kid, chill, she might kill someone, and even if she wasn't going to, that's rude. It's like every once in a while, kids say something, you're like, you know what? You might be right, but some kid's gonna slap you someday. In this case, it's probably gonna be Megan Fox. I'd let myself get slapped by Megan Fox. Oh my god, why am I not wearing my Jennifer's Body shirt? What a wasted opportunity. It's like the 15-year anniversary of that. That's so cool. I still have my dream of doing a double feature of Jennifer's Body and Ginger Snaps. But yeah, things are starting to get worse. Replacement definitely seems like the ultimate goal for Alice here. She starts mimicking the wife's voice when reading bedtime stories to the kids. It seems like she never actually fixed the banister or broke it again, so Maggie would fall. Walks in on the lovely couple going at it.
I threw up.
Well, the home life drama is amping up, so is all the stuff with a buddy named Monty. He shows up with drinks to hang out with Nick, but mostly accuse him of ratting him out because he got pulled aside by the cops for questioning, and it looks like he's going to be charged, and he's the only one of all of them that did so. But Nick didn't do that. When would he have had the time? His wife just had a massive surgery and is trying to reintegrate into the family, and it's not like Monty made his feelings secret. He's been around town bitching continuously. But he's particularly upset because all this led to his wife leaving him, which might have more to do with comments and behavior like this.
Can I get you anything else?
Well, it depends what kind of upgrades you got onto that hood of yours.
But the whole situation just gets way more hostile. He genuinely thinks that Nick squealed on him, so he just starts beating the shit out of him, which is wild. Look at this man. Like, I've seen more of this man than I want to. It's almost all muscle under there. Now look at this man. I realize that he's a construction guy, you know, he's hardened, but still, Massimo could lay this man out. They just needed a convenient excuse for Alice to step in and save the day, but he leaves them off with a threat. If Nick doesn't tell the boss to drop the charges, he's gonna drag him down too. This does lead to Nick questioning why she snapped the bottle in Monty's hand instead of just like stopping him from attacking, because they're not supposed to harm humans, but she said she did it so that he wouldn't kill him, and her primary objective is making sure that he's not hurt.
Your children need at least one parent.
Oh shit, yeah, she is absolutely planning for Maggie's death and throwing herself at him as the contingency plan.
You could never beat Maggie. She's felt pain, and she's got the scars to prove it.
I can have scars, Nick. Where would you like them?
Why do I feel like that's something MGK said to her? But it cuts over to Douche Supreme, who they've really just made the worst person in the world. He is just desperately trying to get his wife to forgive him on the phone while he has a gun in his hand doing multiple lines of coke. What is happening? Like, seriously, why is he just sitting here with a gun? But this is when Alice shows up, and for some reason he lets her inside. She's trying to lay down the law with him, and he says, you know, the only thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna get sold so he can pay his mortgage when I drag him down, and she doesn't like that. She starts beating the shit out of him. Before she can deliver the killing blow, this is when his full hypocrisy comes to light. He also has one of these sparks that he hates so much, but it seems like he abuses it, which is just absolutely fucking wild. Like, maybe that's another reason why your wife left you, because you, like, beat her. The worst man you know, truly. No time for sympathy for that one, though. Alice lays her out pretty quickly before blowing the dude's brains out. Bet you wish you hadn't been hanging around doing coke with your gun anymore, do you? Actually, the gun is probably a faster way for him to go than what she would have originally planned without it. But that moves us into the final phase. Alice just flat out saying that she can take over many of the stresses that Maggie has with being a wife, because if anything were to happen to her, Nick would be distressed. Literally starts to tell her that she's just a big burden to him.
Your condition prevents you from satisfying Nick the way you used to. Perhaps I can take on that role.
Bold! Then blatantly says if I start having sex with him, it would lower his blood pressure and he'd be better off for it.
How do you know what Nick is like when he's satisfied?
Aw, girl, you already know. So she kicks Alice out of the house so she can confront Nick, and I know I joked about it before, but he does go for the bold strategy of comparing Alice to a vibrator.
It would be like getting pissed at you for using your vibrator.
Wow, Amanda, you're right. Very bold. Let's see how that plays out.
She has a face. She cooks for our kids. She rocks them to sleep at night.
Not well. It played out. Not well. But while they're fighting, Max starts crying, which puts Alice on some wild shit. We get a flashback to that amazing parenting moment from the beginning.
Little burden.
Quite a little burden, aren't you?
So she's gonna try to kill the kid, right? More specifically, she's gonna like drown the kid. Thankfully, Maggie's the one who's smart enough to climb on the roof and come through the window before Nick can get in to incapacitate her.
Sometimes you have to do what's best, even if it's hard.
Oh, we love it when the vague commands are spit back at them. But this scene escalated entirely too quickly and was handled entirely too quickly. There is still like 20 minutes of this shit left. So they head to the hospital to make sure the kid's okay, but they make him stay behind, so he just goes to a bar instead. Well, Alice gets brought off to a sim lab to run emergency analytics.
Jesus, when are they gonna start recalling these models?
Oh good, they know there's a problem with them and they're just like letting them be out there, taking care of children. And when they go to look at her code, they see all the gaps and selective rewrites she's made, and they kind of wonder how she's even managing to do this in real time. And while they're looking at that, she actually just starts taking over their system. So now she can just ride around in any sim she wants, including the ones they're already working on, who promptly murders them both before she reloads herself into the original body and tries to go find Nick while she sends the other one off to the hospital to try to track down Maggie and the kids to get them out of the picture. And when she finds Nick at the bar in her half-faced glory, she just quotes Casablanca at him.
Of all of the shitty bars, and all of the towns, and all of the world.
And she's genuinely hurt, or at least like the process of what she thinks being hurt is that he let them take her away. And they try to make it this moment where he's like, oh my God, I see you now. You do live. You are full of life, blah, blah, blah. And then, does like one of those, but that means you can die, and like pulls out some of her wiring from behind and then rushes off to the hospital where, she already is. Because she can just start bopping around from sim to sim, so no one's safe. It's kind of funny though, she starts using her UV mouth to track the blood from the cut on Maggie's hand, because like the whole time I'm wondering, I'm like, well, those aren't real teeth. Why would she ever need to actually clean them? She's not eating food and there's no digestive process going on, but it's so that they could bring it back here. It's so funny. They do manage to get away until they can't actually escape because the ambulance won't let them drive it, but thankfully Nick drinking drives his way right into Alice before she can literally rip out Maggie's heart.
Maybe if I had your heart, Nick would love me the way he loves you.
Obviously, there's a lot more back and forth struggle here before they can finally shut her down, which I still feel like it shouldn't work because she could just keep going into new models, but whatever, it's fine. All uphill from here, I assume. Other than the clear plans for a sequel, because obviously just jabbing her in the head like that wouldn't have worked because she's already infiltrated like an entire system. So it like cuts back over to the lab and the dude is like, shit guys, clean all this up so no one knows. We gotta keep selling these suckers and hopefully it doesn't kill another kid. But the second they get the system back online, Alice takes over. Good thing they had another OG Megan Fox model at the ready. Again, I actually think it would have been way more fun if this movie had acknowledged that like Megan Fox was an actual actress, whether, recently or decades past, and that the likeness had been licensed out, because like that, I feel like that would be really funny and is probably a thing we might see going forward at some point. But this is fine. I really don't know or think we'll get a sequel. What do I know? I do know this was just a straight to VOD. Actually, based on what I saw here, don't want to see what they would do with a sequel. I don't think they have it in them for one. We'll have to be satisfied with the 2 Megan sequels that are currently in the works. But yeah, it is wild to me that Afraid movie is just so much better for so much of the runtime, and then the ending is just where it gets absolutely stupid and dumb and so Blumhouse. But it overall, I still enjoyed watching that one more than this, but we had some good time here today, I think. I had to see too much butt that I don't want to see, but it's fine, it's fine. I'm fine. But yeah, that's Subservience. It's really funny. I only thought to watch the other movie because when this one finally came out, I was like, I really thought this had a title where like the A and the I were capitalized, and I thought that felt very on point for the type of movie it was, and then realized that was an entirely different movie with Jonathan Cho and Catherine Waterstone. So that's why I keep connecting the two. But that's Subservience. That's really all it was. I don't know why I'm still going, but let me know what you guys are thinking in the comment section down below. But thank you all so much for watching. Thanks as always to my Patreon subscribers and YouTube channel members. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a like on the video if you're into that kind of thing. All my other social medias are listed down below, including my Letterboxd, which when I go to festivals, I say dumb things, and you can see my dumb things that I say there too. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I'm mostly okay, and we'll catch you all later.